off. And I've got some Soup Bones brownie. They smell good. And I have a small package of oxtails browning also that I'm going to use for this soup. And the reason why I'm using the oxtails is because I didn't get that many this time from the butcher. Sometimes he throws in extra if someone doesn't want them or something. He'll give me a, well, okay. This doesn't want to, he'll give me like other people that don't want their tails or whatever. And this time he didn't, so I only have one tail, it looks like. And that's okay, we're just gonna brown these up good. I'm just gonna let him go by himself. They're not gonna go nowhere, sitting there. I'm going to use my little tongs here. I do not like using those other tongs, the modern tongs. I like these old ones. That's what I'm going to use. Well, and there goes my pepper. Right. Now, one of them days again. I have several of those. Salt, pepper. Frying them in a little bit of oil. I'm actually using a little bit of grapeseed oil, because that's what I had out. Vegetable oil, olive oil, a little shortening if you only have that. We're just going to be browning these up nicely, and then we're going to be putting them in our crock pot. Slow cooker crock pot. And these are sliced to spit a little bit. You just want to kind of render some of the fat out. I mean, nothing, you know. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. That's okay. I like to for this kind of thing because, you know, they're going to be cooking in there for quite a while. Otherwise, these oxtails won't be tender. And when they are tender, they are delicious. If you've never had them before, you know, give them a try. But the secret to making a good oxtail, in my opinion, is the longer you let them cook, and better they are. So, that's the secret. And the rest of these are some really nice, meaty soup bones that he gave me the last time at our butcher, located in, I guess you could say Freedom, Kakana area. I can't think of the name of it offhand. Starts with an R. Let me get that for you so you know. The name of it is, and here we are. The name is Roskom Meats. And it's in their address, their address is a 766 number, which is actually, you know, many years ago, when we only had so many, you know, area codes. 766 was Kakana Little Chute area. So, now that's of course all changed. So, it's R-O-S-K-O-M. And that's where we get our beef and our pork from. We used to get our pork from someplace else out in Hilbert, Stockbridge area from my husband, well, a friend of ours, my husband's friend that he used to work with, Helen. But we don't, her brother has been ill or got hurt or something like that. So we haven't been by there. We haven't gotten any from him for a little bit. Actually, I think he got hurt from a pig, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be wrong. But he hurt his legs or something. So, I think that's what it is. So, But we're just going to let these brown for a little while, and then when we're done letting them brown, I'm going to be transferring them over to my crock pot liner here, and that's where we're going to add all of our other ingredients. So for now, I'm just going to let these do their thing here. They'll be done in a little bit. I'd give them another 10-15 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to transfer the bones, beef bones, and the beef oxtails to my slow cooker here. I just browned them up good on all sides. Nothing, you know, real extensive. Just to get some of the juices flowing here. And I'm just putting them in the bottom of my crock pot here. Or slow cooker, whatever you want to call it here. And I got quite a bit of the bones here. And an oxtail. And here's a little baby one here. And we're going to put all these in. I'm just going to, whoa, come on, get over here. Yeah, I'm just going to just drizzle a little tiny bit of this oil over the top here. Just a tiny bit. Not much. And leave the rest in there in the pan for now. And now I'm going to add 1 onion chopped. The only thing I had was a purple onion, so that's what I'm using here, and I've just finely chopped it up. It's the only one I had in the house, and it's a cold, very cold, rainy, dark night here in Wisconsin. And I'm not going to run, oh geez, 45 minutes one way to go get a yellow onion. So I'm going to be using the red onion, just as long as it's nice and oniony, which it is, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to add, a good handful of chopped celery with the leaves. And remember, when you're making soup or a stew or anything like that, the leaves of the celery give it a lot of flavor. So use those. Chop those up and throw those in your pot too. And there we go. And that was about 4, I'd say 4 cloves of minced garlic that I threw in here also. So we're going to throw that in there. And next we're going to get our carrots. And we're going to throw those in there next. Okay, now we're going to add our carrots. This is about, 2-3 carrots, sliced, peeled and sliced. And I'm just going to throw those in there, just like that. My husband is on vacation coming up, so I'm making this mainly for him. He loves to have soup, homemade soup, so that's always a good thing to start vacation with, especially when it's cold out like it is right now. It's cold and rainy, and it's just not really all that nice of a day. We've been getting snow, and then it turns into ice, and then it goes into rain, and now we're back to the rain. So we'll see what happens. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is, after I added the beef bones that I browned and the oxtails that I browned, I added some minced garlic, some onion chopped, celery chopped, carrots chopped, and now, throw that over there. Now I'm going to add some spices. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more salt here. Not a lot, about, I'm going to give it a good teaspoon here. And I'm using the kosher salt. My hands are still orange from the carrots there. So there's some salt. We can always add more salt later. Some pepper here. And just going to crack some into here real good. If I can get this thing working. There we go. For some reason, when I make anything with beef, whether it's a beef roast or beef vegetable soup like I'm making here, I always like a lot of pepper with beef. I don't know why. And horseradish. Love horseradish too with beef. Okay, and now we're going to add that salt and pepper. Now we're going to add, about a teaspoon of, this is oregano, just to give it a little flavor here. A little oregano. You could add basil. You could add Italian seasoning. You could add parsley. Here, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons. There we go. How's that? Just a little, give it a little flavor. And then I'm going to add about the same of thyme leaves. And you can use fresh thyme, but always remember when you're using the fresh herbs that you always have to use more than the dried. So if you do have fresh thyme in your garden, and your garden is growing, which mine of course is still covered with a little bit of snow, my thyme is not growing right now, so I'm using dried. And I'm going to give it a little bit more, not much. And I'm just going to put it in my hand, and I always like to go like this and get it good and, ooh, it smells good. And then I'm going to add, about a teaspoon of smoky paprika. I love this stuff. I buy it at Piggly Wiggly in Pound, Wisconsin, or Coleman, whatever. Ooh, whatever. And I love this stuff. It has got the best smoky aroma, but it doesn't give it an overpowering smell of smoke either. You know, you can, I used to use that liquid smoke a lot, and I still do. But sometimes that tends to, if you add too much of that, you can really tell. So that's always nice. The smoky paprika is just nice to even put on potato salad, egg salad, whatever. Okay, and then I'm going to add, just to give it a little thickness, I'm going to add about this is a 2 teaspoon doodad here. Teaspoon, 2 tablespoon, I should say. What am I talking about? Okay, let's back up. 2 tablespoon of tomato paste, if I can get it off of there. There we go. And this is a 2 tablespoon spoon. I don't know why that just doesn't seem to be making sense to me tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to add that, and that'll really thicken it up nicely. And I don't know if I have a video that shows you what to do with your tomato paste if you have extra, which obviously I do. I don't know why I had such a big can in here, but what you do is you line your like a baking sheet with some parchment paper, wax paper, even tin foil will work good, and then you measure out like about a tablespoon tomato paste, and you put that on your lined baking sheet, and then you freeze it. And then when it's nice and frozen, you take it out of your freezer and you put it in a little baggies, and when you need only 2 tablespoons like I do right here and for this recipe, you won't have to open up a big old can and be stuck with another, you know, can full of it. So that's a good idea. It saves on a lot of waste, and it's just a good idea, because I like to add it to a lot of different things too. There, let's put that in there. And then, since like I said, this is for my husband, and he likes things on the spicier side, I'm going to be making a very spicy soup here. It's going to be a very spicy vegetable beef soup. It's on the very spicy side. So these are the Rotel, 1 can of Rotel hot diced tomatoes with habaneros. Like I said, I think I mentioned before, I won't be eating this, and it's because it is going to be so spicy. I can take spice, but that's going to be a little bit too much, I think, for me. So I'm just going to add this, and he'll love it. So if you like spice, here we go. Add that. And then, to top that off, I have to quickly wipe my hands off here. To top that off, we are going to use, and this was I got this at Aldi. Move you back just a tad. And it was jalapeno, jalapeno beef broth. So I don't even know what it tastes like. They had this on sale, and they had a poblano beef broth also. Well, my husband decided to go with this one. So this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to add the whole, what is this, 32 ounces usually. Yeah, 32 ounces. And for some reason, the thing didn't want to, the little cap didn't want to come off for me, so I just cut the end off, and I'm going to pour this in. My vegetable beef soup that I made in the crock pot here has been cooking for, oh, I'd say 6 hours. And I made it with soup bones, meaty soup bones, and some oxtails. And as you can see, here are the bones from the oxtails and from the soup bones. And as you can see, all the meat fell right off the bone. This is what I have. So all I did was scoop out the meat like this. Look at how nice that is. Big chunks of meat here. I'll put it over here. All the meat just fell right off the bone, and it looks really, really, really good here. So I'm just gonna, you know, scoop out. I think I have 1 or 2 more bones left in here. I can feel some of them kind of going around in here. Whoa. And that's all I did was let it cook. And here's another little piece right here. That's part of the oxtail. And that's, I guess you would call that the, no, I don't know, membrane or something. I don't know exactly. But anyhow, look at all chunks of meat. I'm not even going to separate any of the meat. I'm just going to let it cook like this for a little longer. I'm not going to shred the meat or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it in these big chunks. Now this was part of the oxtails right here. And as you can see, it is just falling apart tender. I mean, it's really, really, really good. If you want to make very tender oxtails, and the secret to making them taste really good is cooking them slowly and in a broth of some kind. That's why I decided to use them with the soup. If I really wanted to thicken this up, I could probably make a stew out of it. Oh, here's the bone right here. But see, this is how it, all the meat just scooped right out, came right off the bone here. And that's what I have left here, a plate of bones. I wish my dogs were a little bigger. They'd probably get a big kick out of it. Or I should say, I wish these bones were a little bigger, because they would chew on these, but these are too small to give the dog, no matter really what size they are. So here's another little piece of meat that came out of there. Throw that back in. And oxtails, or I've made like a turkey neck soup, a turkey neck stew, and if you cook those babies long enough, the neck and the oxtails or any of that, they are going to cook down, and they are some of the best meat you'll ever eat. Is on the tail, on the neck, the like ham hocks. If you cook those long enough, those are darn good too, especially the smoked ham hocks. So, you know, now with the prices of meat going up, I mean, you might want to reconsider and maybe purchase some of these, you know, off, you know, cuts of meat. Or, I mean, all of these bones that I had here for soup bones, they were just, you know, full of meat. And usually, like, our butcher just kind of throws those in a very, I mean, you can buy soup bones anywhere. But these happen to be really nice and meaty, and that's where I got a lot of the chunks of meat off of here. But look at that. That's just from soup bones. I mean, and, you know, the oxtails. And it looks pretty good to me here. I mean, I think it looks darn good. I'm going to move these bones over and slide this hot crock pot over here. And it looks pretty good to me if you really, you know, take a peek here. And I did add potatoes. I'd say I forgot to add them. So the last, I think, 2 hours of cooking here, I added the potatoes. And they are nice and tender also. And like I said, I could probably thicken this up a little bit and make a stew out of it. but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave it just as it is like this. It's on the spicy side, but I did take a little sample of the broth, and it wasn't as spicy as I thought it was going to be. So the tomato sauce, I added about a cup of tomato sauce too after my my card ran out in the middle of my pouring in the broth yesterday. So I poured in the broth, and then I added just a little bit of tomato sauce, and that's where you get the color from. And that, I think, turned out really well. And that probably, all right, here's another little piece you probably don't want to eat right there. I think that'd be like, what is that, the membrane or something? I don't even know. But throw that over there. And just keep stirring it around. And like I said, this turned out really, really well. My husband, who starts his vacation tonight, he should be home tonight. I think he's going to love this. And it's a little on the spicy side, like I said, but it's not overly spicy. It looked like it would be with the habanero chopped tomatoes, but they seem to really, you can't even hardly see them in here anymore. And I'm coming down with a cold or something, so this is probably going to taste pretty darn good, even a little spicy on my throat. I don't know if I have got allergies going on right now or what, but I woke up all plugged up today, so. But here is my invention, I should say. I just kind of threw this together with some leftovers and vegetables I had and other things I had in my pantry I wanted to get rid of, and I hope you give it a try. But this is beef vegetable soup / stew, I guess you could say, made with soup bones and oxtails. And like I said, try some of these off, you know, cuts of meat, or you know, the bones, like that, even like pork neck bones are really, really good if they're cooked this way. And ham hocks, smoked ham hocks are really, really good. The oxtails and anything like that. Just give some of that, those other cuts of meat that you might, I don't even know if you'd call those a cuts of meat, but not so desirable pieces of, you know, meat or leftover from, you know, your cow or whatever I'm trying to say here. But just give it a little try once and see. You'd be surprised how the flavor that they give to your food. So give it a whirl, and I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I hope you stop back again and enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be rainy, but it's supposed to be in the 50s here in Wisconsin, and that's good enough for me. As long as the sun, or as long as the snow goes away and I might see a flower or two, I will be happy. So thank you for stopping by, and have yourself a wonderful weekend.